Bullshit. Tapes Falcons take on the Brisbane Bullets. Before we take you to the Boondall Stadium, here's a chance for you to enter our Mazda Super Shot competition.
Leading rebounders in the league, and Andre Moore, no doubt, the leading contender for NBL All-Star 5 selection. But Bullock has been one of the great inside players this season in a weak side, and he might be in there too, you never know.
You look at the size of the two of them lining up there, and you'd wonder how James Bullock was in front on those rebound statistics, because he seems to give about 6 inches away to Andre Moore.
Now, Derek Rucker, who has the ball now, needs 14 points to pass Leroy Loggins' all-time Bullets scoring record of 792 points.
Make that 11 now, Peter.
And that looked a very good start.
And the Bullets putting full court pressure on straight away, and a made shot. They'll go into that full court press and try and put some pressure on the young Newcastle ball carriers.
Peter Hill in possession. And he's got the foul against him, Bob Lamborn.
I think he just double dribbled, I think Bob Lamborn called, but the pressure once straight away starting to pay off. They're going to have to watch Rucker and Fox getting up there and setting that trap around about halfway.
The last time Rucker played against Newcastle, he only got 28 points in a 2-point win by the Bullets as Moore goes one off the glass but doesn't find it. Bullock with the rebound, loses it, regathers. Very young side. You'll find that this 5 will play a lot of time for Newcastle tonight. Screen set by Hill for Harvey, but he doesn't shoot. Dishes off to Bullock. The fadeaway jumper is a good shot.
Sweet shot from James Bullock. In fact, former Gold Coast coach Tom Wisman had a fair bit to do with James over the years in various countries around the world. James Bullock once turned up in front of Tom Wisman and said, hey coach, I'm not so good at shooting, but when it comes to the ball, I'll always get it back off the boards.
Well, I thought for a moment that Andre Moore may have travelled then, but it looked like a little bit of a suggestion of a travel, but the points count.
And Grant Kruger then being caught for the foul. I think you'll find he steps forward a bit. Just saw very quickly then moving forward, still not stationary, and there was some contact there, so the referees were entitled to pick that up.
Newcastle have got the worst record in the league in terms of assists and steals, but they're a strong rebounding side.
Again, the full court press being put on James Bullock, bringing the ball up the court, which is not really his position, but his experience would probably help a little bit in this situation.
It's unusual to see Andre Moore there dogging it as Harvey puts up a shot, short. McGraw a valuable rebound, but the pass intended for Loggins went behind it.
He's a bit unlucky, Chris McGraw there. It wasn't too bad a pass. Leroy just happened to look the wrong way.
Screen set by a couple of Newcastle players for Bullock. Finally gets the shot away. And Greg Fox, of all people, brings down the rebound. Rucker skates it up court, top of the key, rims out. McGraw got a fingertip to it, but couldn't control the ball. It's 5-2 to the Bullets.
Derek Rucker looking as though he's shooting hands-on. That one rimmed in and out. Fairly unlucky, but he's looking very strong on that leg, going up strong, and the first three-pointer went straight down. So Newcastle are going to have to keep a very, very close eye on him.
Good strong drive from young Peter Harvey. Leroy Loggins collecting the foul.
I just noticed John
Greg
Young
Fox.
Harvey very, very quick across the floor, which will make it interesting if he's on Rucker all night.
Yes, they're also a very young team, as was mentioned, so that means they'll have plenty of enthusiasm and desire out there, and they won't tire real easily either. And that's something that has, I think, paid for them in the last couple of weeks against Perth and Adelaide. They've just gone out with a whole lot of determination and enthusiasm, and it's paid off.
Yes, Peter Harvey's had double-figure games in those last 2 wins over Perth and Adelaide. He's very, very quick, so it'll be interesting to watch his speed against Ruckers. 5 each. Fox, who last week had 4 shots for 3 scores. Nice hook shot by Moore.
It's a good one for Andre to pick up, but I think Greg Fox should have gone all the way with the bucket then. He had a clear bucket, and one extra pass could have been a turnover.
I've made the point before that last week Newcastle shot 54% from the 3-point line. Fox off a good dish from Rucker, and it's just tipped away. Great defense. Rucker won't miss this one. 9-5.
Getting that ball down the court very quickly before that full court pressure can be applied. It's a good move from the Falcons. Don't get trapped in that backcourt situation.
Johnson sets the screen for Hill, but can't get the shot away before the D gets to him. Bob Lamborn spotted a travel. No, is it a foul? Yes, it is. A blocking or hacking foul.
on the side. Michael Johnson in the warm-ups looking very, very hot as well. One of the keys for the Falcons' victory was to get the ball to Johnson, try and shake him loose as often as possible. He hasn't seen the ball in the shooting position yet.
Turnover, a steal by Andre Moore off Bullock. Good psychological blow, but it's turned over again the other way. Peter Hill brings it up. He's got Bullock with him, but goes on his own and misses. And again, McGraw has sent the outlet pass to Loggins. It's supposed to go to Rucker. Twice it's happened. Out of bounds. So that's the turnover of possession. That was a vital mistake.
Brisbane been picking up the steals because of the defensive pressure, but they're turning it over too quickly. They've had about 4 or 5 quick turnovers already in the game.
Michael Johnson's three-point attempt rims out. The foul is spotted.
Well, Grant Kruger then using his arms to try and get a little bit of area clear for himself, and the referee picked that up.
A Newcastle friend, Mike Rivetta, has told me Grant Kruger's improved his play immensely this season. He was fouling out early in the game, early in the season, but he's improved enormously in the last couple of weeks.
Well, I can tell you one thing, speaking with the Newcastle coach before the start of the game, Ken Cole. I know the exact makeup of the Newcastle squad for next year. Jerry Everett is coming back from New York, who's one of the better Falcons they've had over the years.
Coley in his lucky shirt. He's been wearing that the last 2 wins, so he's wearing it again tonight. That's interesting.
Why shouldn't he?
Well, that was bold play by Chris McGraw, but he's starting tonight for the first time since, this season, really, because of the injury to Robert Sibley, and he's had a couple of turnovers, a couple of rushed passes. He's trying very hard, but at the moment he's making a few mistakes.
Getting back to the makeup of the Newcastle side next year, Jerry Everett coming back into the squad, and he's a shooter, can score the ball. He won't be playing guard, though. He'll be back playing a small forward role. And Al Green is going to play with Newcastle as well. So the combination of Bullock, Green, and Jerry Everett will make a fairly experienced lineup.
What a great play by Loggins. Missed shot, just rimming out. What a super rebound, John.
Yes, I was going to say, Glenn could be putting Ken in some hot water there, confirming Al Green's appointment before the end of the season.
Loggins the steal again. That was an ambitious shot. And a great pass from Kruger to Harvey. Johnson for the three-pointer, and that's his first. Let's keep tabs on how many three-pointers he shoots.
I think that was just 2 foot was on the line there.
Very hard to see. Coley was standing right in my path. 11-9 it is to the Bullets. Hand on that ball as Rucker shot.
Still seems to be a very scrappy game, actually. Both sides getting a couple of steals, being able to run the ball fairly well, but really not converting all their efforts and really not settling down when they have to. Just sort of run and gun at the moment.
Bullock draws the foul, so he'll go to the line for 2. Of course, last week against Perth, he had to make 1 of 2 shots to win the game against Perth. He missed the first, so they had immense pressure on him for the second shot, and he made it. So this should be money for Jam. Only averages 60% from the stripe, which isn't very high, really. I watched him in the warm-ups, and that's exactly the sort of shot he was putting in. It's a bit short.
Leroy Loggins will have had a quick word with the players just in this little break in play here and told them to discipline themselves a bit more. They're running in the open court okay, but when they're getting down there, they're not picking out the best opportunities at the basket, probably rushing the first shot. They need to, against this side, the Newcastle side would like to see a run-and-gun game because they're playing with a lot of enthusiasm out there. They're going to pick up a few more steals and get the best of the scrappy play.
Lovely shot from Andre Moore. He's the man who hurt the Falcons when they played in Newcastle. Rucker had a quiet night, but Moore was at his best on that occasion. It's 13-11 to the Bullets. A timeout has been called, and we'll take a break from Boondall.
Play a little bit. Last week against Melbourne, parts of the game fell apart. And I think this week we're not really seeing anything too inspiring. I wonder how much they do miss Robert Sibley.
Yeah, they don't seem to be finishing off their plays down the other in the offensive end at all. Their defence has been picked up a little bit. They're putting plenty of pressure on, but this Newcastle team likes the open flowing game at the moment.
On the fast break, Duncan Johnson to Craig Adams has lost control of the ball entirely as he went for the layup. Hasn't had a confidence-building start. Missed some shots, a couple of turnovers. Has had Chris McGraw. No doubt Robert Sibley would be watching this game with anguish, knowing that he would be there doing the job, but he's got tendinitis in his knees and he's got to sit out this one.
And we will be speaking to Robert Sibley at half-time for his comments on the game.
Actually, when you think about it, John, the Bullets have made terrific starts in their past 2 games against North Melbourne and Melbourne. And this is in complete contrast.
And they've started off fairly well. They got the first 3-pointer from Derek Rucker, and just again wonder whether it's not a mental problem with the Brisbane Bullets. Some games they turn up to, like the North Melbourne game, very prepared to play, and they play like absolute champions. And in other games, like the Hobart game, they come along expecting just to turn up and win the game. And they lose a lot of that intensity. They seem to lose their finishing off skills in the offense as well, and it seems to be happening again against the Falcons. The Falcons are going to take full advantage of that. These kids are going out for every win they can get. They're going to finish the season off on a high.
It's 10 points for James Bullock as Andre Moore makes that little jumper that he likes so much. And Moore is leading the scoring for Brisbane Bullets. He's got 11 points.
Chris Steele comes in, takes out Peter Harvey. Derek Rucker.
So Andre Moore finding it a little rhythm starting to come back into his inside shooting. He's getting a little more opportunity there. One thing we said in the keys to victory was that they needed to go to Andre Moore a bit more offensively. I think he's been a bit quiet in the past couple of weeks because he's been starved to the ball inside. As much work as they can give big Andre, he'll take. He loves it in there, and I think this is the sort of game where they need to go to him as much as possible to get himself toned up for the playoffs. Still a very evenly balanced game. The Falcons are going to take full advantage of the bonus situation, keep themselves well within touch. 17-19, it's just a 2-point lead to the Bullets.
2 smooth shots from Peter Hill, who had his career best game last week against Perth. 32 points he scored. Rucker draws the foul. But he's been fairly quiet so far after that first 3-pointer.
The foul was called on
The Bullets have a quick word. They will certainly be having a discussion on what's happening in their offense, what sort of offense they need to put into play to go and break up the swarming defense the Falcons putting on them at the moment.
Free throw percentage, 83%. But last week, Derek Rucker missed a shot in that extra time that was quite crucial. Of course, he's human. A big whoosh from the crowd here at Boondall. They're all pretty well skilled at that now. Here's the Bullets pressing up in defence, trying to get the steal. A couple of long outlets. Turner to Johnson. And the score.
And the Falcons breaking that the right way, going to a man down the centre of the court when the press was on, and then having one of the wings fly down the side. In this case, Johnson to convert the point. It's been a well-rehearsed move. They know how to break that press, and they can get points off it.
Adams open with the shot. He likes that range. Ken Cole crouching like the player himself as he was not so many years ago. Sees his team 4 points down. Well, that'll give Spider Adams a bit more confidence. That was a good shot. Hill drives baseline, draws the foul. Duncan Johnson not quite in position.
Still moving when that contact happened. That's where he's going to get caught for.
Peter Hill about to go to the line. This is one of the reasons why Newcastle have struggled a little bit this year. Statistically, from the foul line, they're only averaging 69% compared to the Bullets' 77%. Now, that's 10% almost more per game, which can mean a hell of a lot when it comes to a crunch game, just how accurately you can get the points from the charity stripe.
Yeah, the Bullets are one of the leading, in fact, they are the leading foul shot percentage team. 77% they average, whereas Newcastle only average 69. Screen being set at the top of the key, but Rucker drives inside and draws the foul.
Well, speaking of the foul shooting, I'll give you a perfect example of that, Peter. Last week, Andrew Gaze hit 13 from 13, and the Melbourne Tigers won by 1 point. That's how important free throw shooting is.
Yes, Gaze is extraordinary. When you think he played that game with that stress thrombosis in his arm and is now in hospital and won't play for the rest of the season, it was an amazing performance. No wonder he missed 7 minutes of the game. He said afterwards he couldn't understand why he was tired.
Derek Rucker on the line.
And Derek Rucker at the line, a chance to go and put the Bullets a little further ahead. He's starting to penetrate a lot more like the Rucker prior to his injury a couple of weeks back, feeling a lot more confident. And he catches a lot of people out in those fouls, floats in the air. It's very hard to avoid fouling him. So it's good to see his speed and hang time is getting right back to the Rucker we know.
Paul Reese is back on. He's got Neil Turner. Good match up there. Peter Hill, too much pace for Andre Moore. Johnson and Loggins. Johnson takes it to the bucket. A block swatted away by Leroy Loggins.
And Darren Breeding getting good position there, helping that situation, because the player had to move to avoid contact with Breeding's covering defence and help side defence. So that was good help from Darren Breeding.
25 to the Bullets, 21 to the Falcons. 2 minutes 13 till quarter time. And we need the towel for a bit of sweat on the floor. So far, so good from the Bullets' bench point of view. They've had their noses in front.
Falcons very well drilled. They've been handling that full court pressure very, very well for a young team. Not being pressured into making mistakes. So it's good to see, and good to hear that Ken Coles confirmed in a radio report with me earlier this week also that he will be coaching again next year, take his team one step further next year.
Darren Breeding's first shot of the game. The rebound to Bullock. He takes it into the key and rejected.
Points count.
Points count. Goal 10.
To James Bullock.
It's on its downward path, according to referee Bob Lamble.
Okay, if we just have a look at it again, and we'll freeze it in the spot where the ball's hit. We'll have a look and see if the... There it is, it's hit there, and we're just watching. What we had to see there was the height the ball reached. Once it started coming down, it was protected, and it wasn't allowed to be touched. And Andre Moore got it on the way down.
That's 11.
Another bomb from Rucker. That's 11 points for him. The Bullets now lead by 5. A minute and a half to go in this first quarter.
Always an unfortunate call, goaltending, I think, John. Great athleticism from Andre Moore just to get up so high. I mean, his hand was way above the rim.
Yes, when that rule was first introduced many years back, you had Will Chamberlain used to go and float around in the keyway, and one of the rules they had to change the 3-second rule for a start, because you could just plant big rules under the bucket, and everybody that threw a shot up would just sit there and swat them away. So put the 3-second rule in, and also brought in the descending shot rule to try and stop the big players just putting their hands over the top of the bucket.
The biggest man I've ever met, Will Chamberlain.
Remember that Vladimir Tichenko that played for the Soviet Union, something like 7'4". Had the 3-second rule not been in vogue when he was playing, he would have made a fortune.
Even with the 3-second rule, fairly hard. He took one step, he was in the middle of the key, and one step he was out, and he took most of the keyway up.
So it's 28 plays 25. This is Breeding. Andre Moore. Good defense. He was completely surrounded.
That was Neil Turner that got the hand on that ball.
Hill. And a little bit over-aggressive Darren Breeding. Blocking foul called on him.
Darren Breeding. His first. Chris McGraw.
There it is again on the replay. No doubt about it. Darren just reaching in a little bit there.
Andre Moore.
And incurring the foul.
Yeah, what he needed to do is get across, try and be one step in front, get to a point on the court before the player, and then become stationary, and then might have picked up the charge foul. While he's still moving, he's got every chance of drawing that foul against him.
1-1 this is, makes the first, gets another one.
Very rare sight. Derek Rucker has gone to the bench for the Brisbane Bullets. Unlikely, because you wouldn't think it would happen beside the last minute before quarter time.
Greg Fox, who I mentioned made 3 out of 4 shots last week, has got 1 out of 2 so far tonight. Johnson for 3. Up they go, and Loggins pulls the ball down, controls it. 35 seconds to go. That was a vital play. The Bullets lead by 5. Loggins goes to the basket, the points will count, and he'll go to the line. Fouled in there for shooting.
A great move from Leroy Loggins, bringing the ball down the side of the court. He saw the gap, put the hammer down there, went right through the middle, and a lovely rolling layup there. He was a long way out from that ring when he let that go off his fingers. Great shot.
Coast to coast too, it was.
Leroy's 3rd in the league on the strike. And that 3 points takes it to 33-25 with 29 seconds to go. Double teamed, an awkward pass for Steele, and found the mark in Hill. Turner on Reese. Backs it out to Bullock. Bullock for 2. Yes.
Very mobile player, James Bullock, and he can take that outside jumper. He's got a lot of height in his jump, so it's very hard to put tight defense on him out there.
That's 14 points for James Bullock as the second stick down. A last-second shot by Loggins rims out, and that will be quarter time. And so the Bullets at quarter time have a 6-point lead, 33-27. We'll take a break. Good shot from Loggins. Baseline.
That was a tough shot.
Yeah, under pressure too. Got a little bit of a push when he went up. Still able to go and bury that one.
Even Coach Kenny Colt next to him, oh, what a great shot. He just gave that one away.
Hill a good assist to James Bullock. Goes up for the shot. And the foul has been drawn.
Well, something the Bullets can do they're not doing is try and deny the ball to Bullock a lot more. He, along with Johnson, are the two big dangers out there, particularly inside. Bullock posting up is very, very tough, as we've seen. They need to play more in front of him. As they haven't got so many other offensive dangers, the Bullets can overplay a lot more and help out against Bullock, so they can afford to put someone a lot more around in the passing lane than they could maybe against a team like Melbourne.
Aptly named, this fella. Works like a bullet. 15 points he has so far. His team has 28. And now they're 6 points down. Of course, with Newcastle back in the old days of basketball, I suppose 15, 20 years ago, John, they were one of the strengths in Australian basketball. Players like Dennis Kibble, who's on the bench tonight as assistant coach.
Yes, definitely a guy called Bobby Turner, also one of the early coaches at Newcastle, and the Broadmeadows Stadium used to shake. They were really the front runners of the league in the early days in the NBL. So they've got a very proud history behind them.
Well, even going back, 4 or 5 seasons ago, they were all in the playoffs quite regularly during the early to mid-80s.
Let's have a look at this again, and there was a shout of dismay from the Newcastle bench on that call. Neil Turner called for blocking foul. Well, we look at more hustling well to pull that ball in.
Talking the history of the Falcons too, the father of the NBL, John Raschke, is a Novocastrian as well, so that probably is an even greater crown to their cupboard.
Well, they used to be divided, I believe. They had the Northern Districts Association and the Newcastle Association. They never spoke to each other because the Northern Districts used to allow women to play in their competition, and Newcastle didn't until they saw the light in the early 60s. Ken Cole, always colourful.
Watching that again as it goes inside. There's a nice strong move. Once again, Chris McGraw always able to find that defensive lane. That time there was a bit of a question mark on it, but he reads the game very well. And if there's anybody fills the passing lane quicker than Chris McGraw, you don't see it too often.
And fills it bigger too.
Hard to move.
Well, Chris has been playing for the Bullets since 1980. Had a couple of breaks in that time, but he certainly knows the game and reads it well. Tip-off going to Turner. This is Hill. Good shot. Under a lot of pressure, Peter Hill.
Falcons staying right in touch, just 4 points behind the Bullets at the moment. Neither side really looking as though they're going to take control of the game. They're just swapping baskets at the moment. Take an effort like that from Leroy Loggins or one of the stars from either side to maybe open up a bit of a stretch for a lead.
Loggins looks to have a hot hand. He's starting to emerge as the real enforcer out there for the Brisbane Bullets.
Has 9 points for the game. Johnson, the bounce pass to Hill. That's just bounced out. Turner flicks it away. Loggins can't control it. It's off the Brisbane hand.
Controversial call that one.
It's a decision had to be made quickly. Could have gone either way. Falcons back in possession though.
Turnover from Turner. He's a little bit lacking in mobility. The alley-oop play. Slam dunk.
That could be done for the year.
That'll go close to one of the dunks of the year. That was way up in the air. Brilliant move.
A brutal dunk off an alley-oop pass. Here's Rucker on his own. Just
John Musgrove, alley-oops are always a 50-50 proposition, but this one is as brutal as you'll ever see. I remember Emery Atkinson pulled off a couple, but have a look at this one.
I was looking from here. We were right behind it, and I really thought that Andre was going to miss it. It was too high up in the air, but he floated a long way to get it. And that's the layup of Derek Ruckers, not the shot before, but Andre Moore certainly elevating for that dunk. That was a massive dunk.
So timeout called, and the Bullets have leapt away. Isn't it extraordinary how it happens after a slam dunk? 41 to 31. Slam dunk alley-oop from Andre Moore just before the timeout. John?
Yes, there goes the pass from Derek, and Andre was almost in line with him across the court when that ball went up, so he was not only jumping high, he was moving down the court quickly too.
Back live again, Grant Kruger takes it to the basket and scores to make it 41 to 33.
Well, the big thing about a dunk, despite the fact that it makes the crowd get up and take an interest in the game, it also does promote the team to start playing at a much higher committed level, and I think that'll happen now.
Rebound by McGraw. An offensive forward that the Bullets get so few of normally. But they're picked up from here, and Loggins, who's becoming the player of the match, has 11 points.
Loggins is working at both ends of the court, defensively and offensively, starting to emerge already as potentially the MVP of the night.
So the Bullets by 10 again. Johnson.
And that time the whole defence didn't get across anywhere near quick enough. In fact, 3 Brisbane Bullets players turned around and watched Michael Johnson walk in for that. Nobody trying to get across and close the lane off.
Paul Rees has checked into the game. And he certainly stands out. I think he'll play quite a bit of court time tonight in the absence of Robert Sibley. Just handing off to Derek Rucker, rolling off the screen. But he's missed for once. 43-35. Kruger.
A walk in there, called. Tried to get off the mark a little too quickly.
7 minutes 50 to go in the second quarter. As Rucker gets it inside to big Paul Rees. He goes to Moore, and he loves that shot. Ray Moore has 15 points now. Again, the lead's 10.
The Bullets far from convincing. In fact, one of the interesting facts, Brisbane Bullets are the only team at the moment in this season who have a better on-the-road record than they have at home, winning more games on the road than they've won here at home. And that's certainly a statistic that's rarely achieved. Most teams, of course, lose about 50% on the road and win most of their games at home.
That is rare because the Bullets traditionally have been virtually unbeatable, particularly here at the Entertainment Centre, but it's been on the road in the last couple of seasons where they have struggled.
I suppose for the pessimists with the Doomsday Double coming up, they think, well, that's a good omen. We can pick up both those games.
Speaking of the Doomsday Double, do you think it's a better idea, John, that they're now playing Adelaide on the first night followed by Perth?
I don't think there's any way. I suppose that might be a slightly easier way to do it, but either way, it's a tough trip, and they're both tough teams. That's the important thing, is that neither team is an easy team to beat. So 2 teams like that in a night, whether they be both Melbourne sides or Adelaide and Perth, are always going to constitute a hard trip.
Rucker's been stripped of the ball. The turnover to Hill. Johnson off the glass, and a charge is called against Michael Johnson. Greg Fox was ruled to have position. Also, another statistic that might be of interest as we have a look at this charge, John.
Yeah, and Greg Fox was there. Maybe a little lucky to get that one. He had position, but he seemed to be leaning a little bit as well. And I guess as the referee saw it, depends on the stance that the referees had behind the play. But still the charge called. He did have position. Might have just leaned a little bit.
The other stat I was going to mention, the last time Newcastle beat Brisbane was way back in 1984, and it was the first time that Brian Kerr was coach of the Bullets. That's when he started. Points count for Rucker, and he also picks up the foul.
The foul was called on Peter Harvey.
Peter Harvey's first personal.
Derek Rucker seems to enjoy the pressure on his shot a lot more than the open shots. A couple of open ones he's had tonight, he's failed to convert. The hard ones he's had no trouble with.
He's shooting very well from the stripe.
Again, the full court pressure. Newcastle taking their time, not panicking. Using Bullock a lot in that back court, try and break it up. That keeps Andre Moore down in the wrong end of the court for them.
Well, Kruger's made a mess of his last couple of trips to the basket. Harvey getting the steal. Should score here, 3-on-1. And it's a slam dunk from Michael Johnson. 48-37.
Michael Johnson is a Robert Sibley style of player, isn't he, John? A bit unlucky not to be in the Australian team when you look at statistically how efficient he is in the NBL.
Lovely screen and roll move here from Derek Rucker.
As his player's been very honest about the Australian team. He feels he's been wrongly treated by it in the past, and that he didn't really want to go along and just be somebody to sit on the sideline. I guess David Graham would know that the problems that can go and reap if you sit on the sidelines during a break in season. Michael Johnson, very much a role player for the Australian team, but he's a brilliant role player as an outside shooter, and I think one that could be used, tall enough to be used as an off-guard in international basketball as well.
Yeah, it's one of those players I just can't understand how they can't find a place for him in the Aussie team.
Good rebound by Loggins. Loggins confronted by fast-moving defence. Strong rebound by Rees, and there's a score. And even Rucker punched the air with his fist. He really appreciated his teammates' play.
Paul Rees has been one of the finds for the Brisbane Bullets this season. He's a young, very powerful player. You can see the shot going up there, bouncing off the ring. Paul Rees firstly getting inside for that rebound, and then going up very strong despite the attention there. So, strong play, Paul Rees.
So Big Reese, the country boy, has made an important play. That's his first 2 points of the game. 52-37, let's go to a break.
The one where he let the ball fly off the hands on the fast break.
Hill under heavy defence. Kick back out to Harvey. Pressing up in defence is Pig Dog McLeod. Bullock drives baseline past Adams. 58-41. That's 60-41. Biggest lead of the game, 19 points.
As we said earlier, Andre Moore likes that work inside, getting plenty of opportunities to go in strong to the ball.
Good work by McLeod. Sorry, John. Quick transition by the Bullets. And it's Moore the trailer. Good work by Duncan Johnson. And the steal by Rucker. And Rucker's had it stolen. But the foul is called on James Carr, who's just come on for the first time.
And he can't believe he was fouled. Well, James, it was a pretty logical one. Can't run into a bloke.
Bullets starting to get a little bit of sparkle in their play, starting to finish off their fast breaks. Andre Moore, particularly the last couple of times down the court, enjoyed that little bit of work inside. Derek Rucker getting his feet moving a lot more like the Rucker of old too, picking up a couple of quick steals through footwork. So the Bullets may be getting that sparkle back. With a 22-point, possibly 23-point lead at this stage in the game. Coach Brian Curl will be right on their backs to make sure they don't let the pressure off. He'll be looking for a 40-point or so victory if they've managed to go and grab this sort of a lead in the first half.
Well, we saw North Melbourne have a 35-point victory last night. Illawarra beat Sydney by 25. And some big wins so far this weekend.
Foul call. Steve McLeod picking it up. Again, one of those fouls you really can't blame anyone for. Steve McLeod playing with a lot of enthusiasm and heart. And you're going to get fouls called when you're playing that close to a player every now and then. So just got to smile and wear them. Not let the intensity on your defence drop off at all.
This has been a super second quarter for the Bullets. They led up by only 6 at quarter time. So far they've scored 31 points in the second quarter to 14 by Newcastle. Still 3.5 minutes to go as Rucker is stripped of the ball by Hill. Harvey brings it up but loses it. And it's off a Bullet's foot.
And that was good transition. Duncan Johnson, the person then who realised they'd lost the ball very quickly, got back very quickly and was able to put double pressure on the ball to go and save a certain 2 points.
Bullets working hard in defence on Bullock. He's double teamed again. And it's a Bullets ball this time. Good play by Adams. Rucker loses it. Moore gets it.
But the ball was in the front court and went in the back court again. Derek Rucker touched it in the front court and bounced back over the line. And Andre, coming from the back court situation, touched it.
So back again, Steele and Hill, at least Turner, I should say. A nice shot.
John, watching Coach Brian Curl rotating his team a lot more than usual tonight, is it because of the fact that he's such good mates with Ken Cole? And Ken has often said that he prefers to run his young Australian players than run the experienced players a lot of the time. Do you think that Brian's almost compromising him tonight by saying, well, I'll do the right thing and give my young fellas a run as well?
That's a good question. I would have no idea, actually, the thought process Brian's going through, but I think more on top of that is that he's probably trying to get every combination he can out there running before their trip away next weekend, because with such a long trip, you're almost certain to have to go deeper into your bench. Tiredness and weariness are going to play a lot more in that double, so I suppose he wants to know what sort of combinations are going to work for him so he can call on them next week.
That's an interesting theory. I had the feeling that he was always confident he'd win this game.
I just know that Ken Cole has been quite open about the fact that he believes the NBL should be promoting more of its juniors, more of its Australian content rather than the overseas players. And I thought, well, we're watching a lot of Australians out there tonight for a change.
You've got a couple of clubs following that policy and doing very well too, although their future is probably a little distant yet. But not only Newcastle, Illawarra, of course, right up there amongst the top 6, 7, 8 clubs, and they've done so with very much a youth policy. And Tom Maher at Hobart doing much the same as well, and I think that'll pay dividends with them in the future.
And
just quietly, guys, to interrupt you, Steve McLeod has just hit 2 of 2, and he's never missed from a free throw line in his career. He's only made 2 before. In fact, he's only scored 2 points before, but that's This is only his second NBL game, so that's well done.
Well, no one was watching and the clock was still running down. I noticed as well for about almost 30 seconds while there was no action.
It was all action because I was also watching James Bullock and Chris Adams having a bit of a tay-to-tay. They had one just previously when Chris Adams played the ball on very smartly from out of bounds, and then down this end just then when Bullock and he swapped elbows. Bullock was able to get the call this time round and go down this end of the court to get a one-on-one situation. But we'll watch Chris Adams and James Bullock.
Bullock has 19 points and he stays there. 66 to 44. It's a big lead for the Bullets coming up to half-time. Bullock gets a hand to it, and I think Craig Adams got a hand to him.
We've got the two best rebounders in the league out there tonight in James Bullock and, of course, Andre Moore. What makes a great rebounder, John? Brian Curl once said to me, it's just dedication. I want to get in there and grab the ball.
Yeah, I think heart, one of the greatest of all time, Bill Russell, always said it was heart, but I think it's also very much position. The greatest rebounders are the guys that can get the best position on the court, not necessarily the tallest or the best leaper. Bill Russell was one of those players, always had great position with his body.
Larry Sengstock comes into that category. Over the years, he's been a terrific rebounder against men much bigger than him.
Yes, indeed. Interestingly, Russell said one of the best exercises for rebounding is playing table tennis. Creates very good footwork and body position.
Oh, well, that's the tip in by Neil Turner. So it's 66-47. Bullock now has 20. Nice little dish by Breeding, and Steve McLeod's shot was on the way up there. He's drawn the foul anyway. He's playing pretty well. This will be most heartening for Brian Curl that his rookies are going so well.
Just can't get over the feeling that he couldn't decide whether he was going to church or Boondall this afternoon now. Put his black shoes on, his uniform. They're off-putting.
Well, I know there's a lot of people in Bundaberg who'll be watching this and really enjoying watching Steve McLeod go so well. That's where he comes from. And he's still not missed from a free throw line in his career. Who else can say that? 21-point lead. 2 minutes to go till half-time. Chris Steele. Ken Cole's on his feet now. He's trying to stay cool because he's had problems with his health. He's been warned that he's got to keep the blood pressure down, but it's up a bit at the moment. He's a worried man. Wants the team to run the clock down a little bit. And there's a bad pass. Turnover again. And Rucker's away again. All the way. Coast to coast.
Doesn't get much simpler than that. Take the ball and shoot it in the Rucker.
Just watching what the call was. It's going to go with this is calling on Darren Breeding, and James Bullock will go to the line again. I think that was once again a pretty close call. Bullock getting a bit frustrated out there and starting to swing the arms and the elbows a little bit. He's been lucky at the moment. Nobody said anything to him, but if he keeps that up, I think the referee's going to ping him for a few fouls out there.
John, there have been a lot of turnovers by Newcastle, and Ryan Curl's always said that defence wins you championships. Obviously, he's been stressing the defence of the team coming into the playoffs, and it's showing tonight.
Defence does win championships, and it's probably been a bit of a concern to the Bullets over the past couple of weeks that even though they've had a few problems in offence, more importantly, their defence has lacked its normal power and strength that it's had. Coming back a little bit more tonight, but they're still not helping out as quickly as they should, and I don't think they're attacking the ball as aggressively as they can.
The points count, that's a goal 10 by Neil Turner. Leroy Loggins.
I was going to say, Peter and John, I noticed that the Bullets wouldn't have they couldn't possibly put a much smaller lineup on the court than what they've got at the moment. They've in fact got 3 guards out there, with Leroy obviously playing in the forward role.
I think it's more like a bit of a Thursday night scrimmage, the way they're playing. It's certainly giving the youngsters much more of a go than they have.
20-point split now. Newcastle really have to do something defensively to get back in this game.
McLeod, good option. Going to Loggins. How that didn't go in, I'll never know. He did that time, though. Loggins wasn't
very
too happy about it.
He checked foul then, Leroy.
Oh, yes, he's had a bit of a confrontation with Trevor Dallas. He thought the points should have been called.
No, I think he was arguing that they didn't, I think it was Bullock didn't give it a proper chance for the ball to fall off the cylinder, hit it off the cylinder while it was still, before it had come out. And that was Leroy's complaint previous to the fact that he went and popped the ball out after the shot had fallen.
Super rebound by Moore. Rucker just has a bit of a glance at the clock, the time clock, sees there's 30 seconds to go, so slows the tempo down. Time for one last shot. Shot clock says 18 seconds to go. 74 to 52, that's 22 points the lead after it was only 6 at quarter time. But Moore's thrown a bad pass, and there's time for the Falcons to score before half-time, if they do it right. 10 seconds left. The money man's James Bullock. Not from that range. And it's half-time. So it's been a super half or quarter for the Brisbane Bullets, because they now lead by 22 points, 74 to 52. We'll come back down by James Bullock to Johnson to Hill. And it'll be an easy lay-in for James Bullock. Craig Adams was there, but just couldn't pull the ball down.
The Bullets haven't exactly drawn away this half from the Falcons. They've certainly been converting their opportunities, but the Falcons have stuck in there. 25 points still to break at the moment. The Bullets really need to concentrate on closing their defence down a lot more, or closing the offence down from Newcastle through their defence. Still lacking a little bit of pressure on the ball, allowing the Falcons too much opportunity to move and get those inside passes into Bullock.
Craig Adams managed to deflect the ball out of bounds, but it'll still be a Falcons ball from the side. I've not seen Adams or McLeod or those other youngsters have quite so much court time in any game this season. I think it's a good thing, Glenn.
I think it's an excellent idea from Brian Curl to give his younger players a run. You never know who may get injured in the playoffs or leading up to the playoffs on the Doomsday Double. And to get a player out there on the court in a match like this and get him 15 minutes when it comes to the crunch situation, it's not a new experience for him. And it's a just reward for the amount of time and effort that the players put into training. There's obviously a lot more than just the 5 players at Star each week for the Bullets to make up a basketball club.
Krieger keeps the ball inbounds but loses possession. So it's Rucker again. To Adams, kick back out to Moore, top of the key, and he makes a long shot. That's almost a three-pointer. He's getting close. He hasn't made one this season.
Now, Andre Moore, a strange shot, really. He doesn't really use the wrist to shoot it. It rolls off his hands, but he's got a nice little jumper from anywhere about 20 feet or so out, and he's enjoying it tonight.
I recall he had the chance to win the game against the Melbourne Tigers down in Melbourne early in the season, and he missed with a three-pointer. It rimmed off the iron, but he's determined to make one. Rucker goes inside to Loggins. Loggins back to Moore. Back to Loggins. I'm sure Moore was setting himself for a slam dunk, but he's content with that shot.
And the Bullets were trying to pick up their passing game there. It was patted from one to the other without too much control before Andre Moore went and controlled it in.
Once again, Moore dominating the paint. Rucker, a beautiful little flick behind the back, and a nice finger roll from Spider Adams to put the cream on the cake. That was a good play by Brisbane.
And I think Derek's starting to practice his full range of passes. He's getting very adventuresome with them now, and most of them coming off, and this is starting to look like showtime.
Peter Hill, always a good shooter from outside, had 32 points last week. He's only got 9 this week so far. Duncan Johnson, cleverly done. Timed the jump well. The assist by Rucker, who had 14 assists, which equaled the Bullets club record last week. The way he's going this week, he could eclipse it.
Shane Hill had 20 assists for Geelong last week to break the NBL record. A former Bullet.
Had a quiet night last night as Geelong went down to Hobart. Didn't make the top 3 scorers. Rucker's had 6 third-quarter assists so far. That's incredible in 1 quarter. 30-point lead. Grant Kruger's got a bit of blood coming from him, and so he's going to sit down. It's Dennis Kibble on his left, one of the legends of Newcastle basketball. Not a lot of blood there. He's just
only a scratch on his cheek. He's all right.
Derek Rucker's got 6 third-quarter assists, the record for the NBL, set the other week, or equaled the other week, I believe, by Shane Hill as 20. He couldn't be too far out from attacking that record tonight.
Inside to Chris Steele, makes the shot. and he's limping. He goes back up court. Rucker's got 27 points tonight so far. This for 30. One go. Andre Moore's got 25. Points count. So he's got 27 with a chance of another one. And he's equal with Derek Rucker, so there's a good battle going on between those two. And James Bullock, who's also on 27.
In the battle of the boards, Andre Moore 8, and Leroy Loggins for the 11 for the Brisbane Bullets, 12 for James Bullock from Newcastle. So still keeping his average right up there, averaging 15.9 rebounds a game at the moment, James Bullock, and he's right on the button for that again tonight.
Points count for James Bullock, and it's 100 to 69. Adams has drawn the foul. He's got 5 fouls, so Craig Adams is fouled out of the game. 3 minutes 50 to go in the third quarter. 8 points for the Spider, but a lot of court time tonight, and that's his biggest game so far in the NBL. Well done.
James Bullock on the line, the Newcastle Falcons. They really are battling to stay in touch now with the Brisbane Bullets. Unfortunate, really, that they're not putting up a slightly better showing tonight, because they have been in such great form. Back-to-back wins over Perth and Adelaide, two of the toughest teams in the league. And yet tonight, the Brisbane Bullets, I don't know whether they've stepped up a gear, having lost that one in overtime last week to the Melbourne Tigers, or whether or not it's just a little bit too much for this young side from Newcastle to handle the likes of Rucker and Moore.
A little bit of a foul spotted as big Paul Reese took the ball into the basket. No points. The foul was incurred before he actually shot the ball. Peter Harvey.
From the side, yep.
With a name like that, he should be playing for Canberra.
I knew you were going to say that. Michael Johnson now has 13 points. Duncan Johnson. I'm getting the Johnson & Johnsons mixed up. The baby powder you're wearing there.
Back court, across the court. Referee picking that up. Neil Turner putting his foot across into the front court while his pivot foot was still in the back court. Derek Rucker from outside. He's certainly found range tonight. It'll be a nice little loosening up for Derek Rucker to get his feet moving again, get that shooting touch back in. 30 points so far for Derek Rucker.
That's his third bomb. Craig Adams shot 67% from the field with 2 assists and 1 rebound. Michael Johnson.
That was a tough shot too.
Duncan Johnson. No relation. But scores as well. Bullock with Rucker guarding him. Reese joins in. Certainly he's been under a lot of pressure. Neil Turner. The swipe attempted blocked by Moore, misses. Good job. I can hear Ken Cole calling out for his youngsters.
He's making sure the encouragement level's still there. He keeps on talking to him from the sideline, parading up and down and yelling out instructions. And the youngsters are following it. They're not giving up at all, nor being discouraged. They're throwing everything in there.
Good body work there by Paul Reese. Made sure of the shot. Reese has 5 points.
Steele. Good pass from Neil Turner, one of the prospects for the future, Neil Turner. Very tall, lanky lad, but he's also got very good court vision, and he is quite coordinated for a big bloke as well. Shoots fairly well from around the key. Another one of the tall young Australians to watch for the future.
Carol Rucker is watching in the crowd tonight. That's the mother of Derek Rucker, and it's pretty easy to pick her. If she wasn't taking the photo, well, it's probably one to take home to the family, but doesn't she look a spitting image? Out here for a week's holiday.
Of course, Derek's father, Reggie Rucker, was one of the great players in the National Football League in America for a number of years in the 60s and 70s. So no doubt Carol Rucker, Derek's mum, is used to having famous sons as sportsmen and famous people around her as sportsmen. She's been in this situation before.
Neil Turner.
Paul Reese and Neil Turner having a good battle inside. Both of them prospects for the future, as we've just said, and both of them keen to go and rack up a couple of points against the other player.
Foul called on James Bullock. His second. We've had Craig Adams, as I mentioned, fouled out with 8 points in the third quarter for the Bullets. Fox.
Somebody opened the gate and he went right through. Good layup from Greg Fox, saw the gap there and took it hard to the bucket.
That's a foul on Steve McLeod, a bit of a push from him. And how many's he got?
3, which makes 8 in his NBL career in about 10 minutes on the court.
Yes, he leads the NBL in one category anyway, that's fouls. The average is 5.
And that comes because he's always trying to hack at the ball. He's a very defensive-orientated player.
Well, they call him Big Dog.
That's one thing we've talked about a lot for the Bullets that they're not doing. Steve McLeod is pressuring the ball. What we mean by pressuring the ball is standing up there and putting your hands on the ball, following around, standing close to the player you're marking, making sure they're paying some attention to you and less attention on who they might be able to pass it to or what passing lanes are opening up. So something players like Phil Smythe do with a great amount of fervour and strength, and it makes it very hard to play against a player like that.
Duncan Johnson looks for Loggins, kicks it out to Fox. Inside to Reese, and he'll take it all the way. The attempted block by Turner draws the foul. Well, he's one of the top blockers in the league, Neil Turner. The average is 1.8 a game.
Have a look at this lineup for the Bullets right now, with both Rucker and Moore being rested. Loggins is the only real senior player out there at this stage. So that's confidence for you, isn't it, from Brian Curl? He's virtually said, well, we can win it with our bench.
One of the records they'd be firing for is the biggest score in a game this season is last week. Geelong hit 150 points in their game, and that tied the score. Melbourne also hit 150 points against Westside Melbourne earlier on in the season. The Bullets looking as though they could be on line to rack up 150 points tonight as well. There's still a minute in this quarter to go, 113 points overall in the game, so they'll go close.
Well, they were 41 to 25 in the second quarter. There's the big turnaround. And they're just going further away. The lead 31 at the moment. Into the last minute of the third quarter now. James Bullock under heavy pressure to draw the foul. A couple of players in around him, Loggins and Duncan Johnson.
There's the foul called for leaning in on James Bullock. Then he had his position, a couple of players just leaning forward, trying to push him off balance a little bit. So he gets the foul, goes to the line. James Bullock certainly held up his end for the Falcons tonight. 30 points so far in the game, 12 rebounds.
Hasn't shot well from the stripe though. That's been his weakness. Seems more comfortable shooting it from the field. Double teamed. Harvey gets it back to Steele. Michael Johnson, and again McLeod was in on him.
Foul call on Paul Reese. He and Neil Turner were around there having a little bit of a tussle, and referee Dallas saw it. I think their elbows got a little linked in there somewhere, and they decided to push off on each other. Just a little bit of playing around.
Neil Turner's a big tall streak of misery, isn't he? 209 centimetres. So he's the biggest man on the court in terms of height.
Very slim, isn't he? He'd have to run around the shower to get wet.
He weighs 85 kilograms.
He's still very coordinated. Needs to muscle up a little bit for this league in the future, and I'm sure that they've got him on a strengthening program, but he's got all the goods. Looking at this team for next year, as you're saying, Glenn, you throw Al Green in there and Jerry Everett. They've got plenty of firepower from outside, some good backcourt players, but I still feel they need to get one more big player to help Bullock in there. He's going to be a little lonely next year. Kruger and Turner, I still think, got another year of maturing to go before they're going to tie down a permanent end for Bullock. But
well, that's exactly why Ken Cole was saying that Jerry Everett will no longer play in the guard role. He's going to move him up into the forward role. And Everett's about 6'4" and used to average about 9 or 10 boards per game for the Falcons last year anyway.
Great little behind-the-back assist from Duncan Johnson, but with seconds counting away, this could be the end of the scoring in this period. Desperate passing, the Elliott, at least the Hail Mary pass shot from Michael Johnson doesn't go, and it's 113 to 82. So the Bullets have got another 39 points in this third quarter, whereas it's only 30 points scored by the Falcons. So the Bullets going further away now, and we'll come back after the break with the score. But they've trailed 33-27 at quarter time, 74-52 at halftime, and now 113 to 82. That's 31 points they're behind. In the third quarter, Newcastle shot 57% from the field, Brisbane 73%. Leroy Loggins has been one of the key players for Brisbane. He's the leading rebounder for them. He's got 18, now 20 points, 11 rebounds. For the whole game, Newcastle have only shot 50%, whereas Brisbane have shot a remarkable 63%.
Glenn, before you were talking about the small team that the Brisbane Bullets had on the court, the Newcastle Falcons going to try that as well. They've got really only Bullock out there with any real height inside. Hill, I suppose, will be covering one of the inside positions as well, but a very small lineup out there for the Falcons.
Long pass out to Reese, and off the glass he scores. That's 9 points for Paul Reese. His best is 12. Another assist by Rucker, who's going for the assist record. Derek Rucker has 11 assists for the game. 14 is the record. He shares with, I think, Ronnie Radcliffe.
On Radcliffe, yes, and 20 for the league, which was the one we were talking about earlier. Shane Heal equaling that last week, previously set by Casey Jones, 1985, set 20 assists in one game.
Peter Hill hasn't had the prolific scoring game he had last week. It's his 10th point. So it's 117 to 84.
Bullets, I think, a good opportunity here to get their running game really perfected. They've started a bit of that in previous games. They like the broken play and have been best in past years in broken play, but not really converting in the last couple of weeks. They're starting to get that rhythm back again in this game here tonight. So a good opportunity with running practice for them to get that right down pat to the double next week.
Michael Johnson's second three-pointer. He's got 18 points now for the game, but still that lead is just huge. Rucker for three. Off the arm. Good rebound by Reese. Inside to Andre Moore. Puts the ball on the floor. And Reese is in there. Takes a bit of a knock but scores. He's very good inside with that offensive rebounding. Has great determination. He's got 11 points. The lead now is 34 points. Falcons have really had their wings clipped. Baseline is Breeding. He's drawn the foul by Steele.
And Darren Breeding did that well, got under the bucket, realised he wasn't in a real good position for that shot, but waited for the player behind him to go up and drew the foul. And it was good body position, giving the foul opportunity.
John, perhaps you'd like to explain to us the advantage that the teams who are 1 and 2 have as we come into the playoffs.
Well, the teams higher on the ladder in all the playoff situations get the 2 home games. Now, mostly that would favour most teams, of course, when they win more games at home. You mentioned earlier Brisbane, one of the odd teams that seem to win more on the road. But teams 1 and 2, it means that they get the playoff opportunities, 2-game home opportunities in the semi-finals and the elimination finals that are played.
Here's an easy basket for Peter Harvey. Takes their score to 89. The Bullets 124.
I think it'll be showtime now for the Brisbane Bullets. They're going to win this one in a camper, really. So let's hope that Andre Moore and the likes of Rucker and even Darren Breeding can line up from outside.
Well, it's a good opportunity for the youngsters to show their wares with a bit of confidence. They could go for their highest score of the season, the Bullets. Just the highest score they've had was 172 against Illawarra last year.
That's one thing I'd like to see the league change in the future, is that in playing positions or determining positions between, say, 1 and 2 if teams are equal on the ladder at the end of the competition. The points spread against each other is what determines who comes first or who comes second. It's not the overall percentage. So it stops situations here where Brisbane, racking up a big win, can improve their overall percentage, but it really only counts to give a position on the ladder through the season. When it comes down to playoffs, it's only determined against that team in which you're on equal position. And I think that probably takes away a lot of the incentive for teams to really consider their point scoring opportunities throughout the season.
Just looking through the season, the Bullets' highest score is 140 against Illawarra only 3 rounds ago.
And the record,
3 rounds before the World Championship break. I remember that.
And the record at 150 this season for all teams.
That was Geelong, wasn't it?
Geelong and Melbourne hitting 150 this year.
Well, we won't start counting our chickens. There's 8.5 minutes to go. The waves going around the stadium. The fans are still enjoying themselves, although the game is a bit one-sided at this stage. Can the Newcastle Falcons come back a bit? The rebounding, especially at the defensive end, has been excellent by the Bullets tonight. They're leading the rebounds 44-22. That's an absolute slaughter on the board.
And that was a great pass from Leroy Loggins. In amongst a whole lot of traffic there, was able to weave a great little left-handed pass to Derek Rucker, who went up. And I think he'll get 3 from the line. In fact, the ref is calling 3 shots. Foul as he was attempting that 3-point.
Grant Kruger's leapt to his feet. He's going to check into the game, although he's got a bit of a gash under his eye. Derek Rucker will go to the line. He's got 32 points so far. His average this season's 34.8, and at the end of the season, if he keeps up this scoring, well, this is the end of the regular season, except for the Doomsday Double. He should eclipse the all-time record for the Bullets average scoring, which is 33 approximately by Cal Bruton, right back in 1979. Another record for Rucker.
For Brisbane fans, that's the one signature on a piece of paper they're waiting for. They'll probably, I'd say, have to wait till the end of the season. Will Derek Rucker join Andre Moore back to the Bullets again next year?
The announcement's expected to be made, the Bullets tell me, in the next week. Chris Steele, by the way, had 60% from the field in scoring his 16 points, and he shot 4 out of 4 from the stripe, which is good. An exception in this side, because he shot pretty poorly.
This is where a little bit of help defence might have been able to stop that foul coming in. Chris McGraw doing well to stay beside James Bullock there, but as he started to angle in towards the bucket, he was picked up for putting an arm on James Bullock, and the foul was called. Somebody coming up to maybe close off that passing lane could have picked up a charging foul on James Bullock.
Kruger. Loggins acknowledges the foul. It's only his third. Second. We've had Steele and Adams fouled out, 1 from each side. McGraw is on 4, and Turner's on 4. Breeding goes out, and Fox comes in for the Bullets. The waves going around, much to the mirth of the fans. During the half-time break, we had the 7 nightly news beach ball go around that was so big that it flattened a few people, but it was great fun. The crowd loved it. Well, that's better shooting from Kruger at the stripe. Missed his first 2. Real showtime for the Bullets now. Rucker takes it all the way. It doesn't go. McGraw will score. No, he won't. And it's the slam dunk from Andre Moore.
It was almost as if Andre decided, I've had enough of this. Someone put it in the hole.
If you don't succeed the first time or the second time, then you give it to Andre Moore and he slam dunks it. 130-95. That's a huge lead as Rucker picks up a loose one. The pass is a bit ambitious and it's out of bounds. Falcons ball. That's a little bit too optimistic.
As we said earlier, he's really delving into his pack of passes now, and that one almost came off to Greg Fox. Just had a quick look out of the side of his eye before behind the back pass.
His mum's watching, of course. I wonder if Grant Kruger's mum was watching. A good dish. And the score by James Bullock. 130-97.
Andre Andre Moore is not only noted for the power of his dunks, but I think the number of dunks per game that Andre's committed would be up amongst James Crawford's and Mark Davis, players like these. In fact, from one of the leagues Andre came from, he was saying that they actually gave a prize at the end of the season for the person who had the highest dunks average per game. Something maybe the NBL could look at into the future, because there are some very prolific dunkers in the game. Good to keep a count on them.
Well, particularly when you consider that it is still the most spectacular play in basketball. I don't think there's any question about that. The slam dunk, no matter when it happens, always makes people sit up and take notice. It'd be great to see it used and utilised more as a promotional point by the NBL.
Held ball there, so it's a jump ball, and it comes to the Bullets. Loggins, Rucker pulls up, and the jump shot's short. Again, the twosome, and there's a great slam dunk from James Bullock. Really bent the backboard.
And he hasn't counted, and just trying to watch why Andre Moore went up for the block there.
Well, I don't know why. I thought for a moment he may have hung on the rim for too long.
Well, something's happening.
Points do count. Points do count. Yes, Trevor Dallas is set.
Bullock comes in. It's attempted to be blocked by Andre there, but not too sure why he discounted the basket first, but that will remain a mystery.
Perhaps he thought it didn't go in. Just been undecided. There's a good baseline shot from Andre Moore. How many points has he got? He's up to 32, which is 2 behind Rucker. And Bullock, who's on 34 as well.
You did right, John. Bullock is getting very little help trying to take on more on his own. Newcastle are certainly down on one other big guy.
So the Bullets looking a little bit tired now. Got 5 minutes 50 to go. They need a big play to get them going, I think. Can Chris McGraw supply that? No, but Andre Moore might. Oh, he went for the slam and the ball was stolen out of his hands.
Well, he got the height. He got the height, elevation, he got the ring, he had everything but the ball then, and that was just stolen from him moments before he finished off that dunk. Watch it again, Chris McGraw shooting it up there, bounces off the ring. Leroy taps it to Andre, it goes up, and the ball hit out by Peter Hill. Got a little bit of arm in there as well, and the rest caught that.
Such a marvellous athlete, Andre Moore. I had to laugh on Monday. He played in a golf day, and you should see him with a golf club in his hand. Looked about as awkward as I do on a basketball court.
A lot of people probably don't realise they watch these dunks here on television and they seem to think, oh yeah, it looks very pretty, but you know, so what? If you've not walked on a basketball court before, just walk underneath the basketball ring and see if you can jump and just touch the ring. Remembering a dunk's got to go well above touching the ring, but that's a long way up, 10 feet in the air, so they're quite athletic players out there getting up that high.
I'm improving, John. I can touch the net.
Even that net's a long way up.
That's when you're playing tennis. Kruger draws the foul. We go to the line. His team 33 points behind. 5.5 minutes to go. And Chris McGraw has fouled out. But he's done the job. He started tonight. He's played his heart out. So well done, Chris. He sits down. He's got the long drive back to Caboolture tonight as usual. And he's got 4 points and 5 rebounds. But what doesn't get on the stat sheet are the number of charges he's taken and the screens he's set. That's really good rebounding by the Bullets. 3 or 4 players in there. 3 assists to McGraw, 3 offensive and 2 defensive rebounds.
Leroy Loggins, good defensive position, had his hands up in the air. That's a good lesson for anyone watching to learn to play the game. Running down the court, saw the ball coming, just stuck his hands up in the air, deflected it. Fortunately, James Bullock able to pick up this match and still score.
Baseline pass goes to Loggins. He doesn't score. Reese is in good position to pick up the rebound. He does. Still the shot doesn't go. Tip in by Leroy Loggins.
I've been very impressed with the way the Bullets have crashed the boards. Normally it has been Andre Moore in recent weeks, but tonight it's been Loggins, Moore, Reese. Everyone's been under the bucket and really fighting for the ball as Loggins sails up on a great rebound.
50 to 24, the rebound count favour the Bullets.
Well, there's the story of the night, isn't it, really?
Yeah, they're supposed to be statistically the worst rebounding side in the league as Rucker puts up one of those acrobatic one-handed shots, draws the foul at the same time.
That defies description, that sort of shot. I'm sure he just chucked it up in the air once he was hit, hoping that it'd look as though he was taking the shot, but you see that sliding sideways over the top, over the head, over everything then, and it fell.
And he liked it. 36 points for him.
And he had that look on his face as if to say, oh, it was meant to go in all the time. I know that shot.
See, Mum, I do it every week. And no doubt Carroll's enjoying it.
4.5 minutes to go. The Bullets need 11 points to match the NBL record for the highest score. I think they'll do it.
I think they will. And we'll take a break. 139 to 104. Here tonight, 8,500 of them there going berserk with the Mexican wave as James Bullock goes soaring through the air and hangs off the rim. And he might get a tech foul on that.
I told you that James Bullock took out the slam dunk in the first All-Stars game. I think he was up for trying for another one there. He can get up as well as anyone, John.
You know, watch Andre Moore here too. He's not going to let him have anything easy at all. He goes in to block this dunk. Bullock a long way up, jams it in, and Andre actually gets the ball and deflects it. He also gets part of James Bullock, however, so the referee's called a foul. But both players very athletic, and Andre Moore almost pulling off a very spectacular block.
Well, he's had a super game. 38 points for James Bullock. He's been the stalwart for the Falcons tonight. They're getting a bath here, 139 to 106. Loggins doesn't quite go, but Reese is there as always. And Paul Reese has now got his best score ever in the NBL. He's got 13 points, one better than his previous best.
Well, if there's one thing the Bullets have done well tonight, and it's really contributed to their success, it's following up the second and third shots when they have missed from outside there. Offensive rebounding has been fantastic, and that's paid dividends for them. They've got to do that every game, so that if their field goal percentage is down, they're still going to get other opportunities at it.
Oh, lovely play there by the Bullets. Firstly, the behind-the-back pass, and then that beautiful alley-oop assist from Loggins across to Moore.
How many rebounds is that for Leroy now?
Leroy on 17 rebounds, 53 for the Brisbane Bullets overall as a team, and they're averaging 39 a game. So they've had a big rebounding game, and most of those I would think would have happened down on the offensive end because they have really taken the boards down there apart for their second and third shots.
143 to 106. That's eclipsed the previous season's best for the Brisbane Bullets at 140. So they're heading for that 150, which is the season's best in the NBL, and they should eclipse that. Peter Hill on the line. He shot well from the stripe tonight, and he should, because he has an average of 77%. He's got 11 points.
We said at the end of the first half that Brian Curl would be looking for a 30 or 40 point victory from this team after they opened a 20 point odd lead up on them at half-time. And they've certainly gone on with it. They haven't let the defense or the offense slacken off at all, and he'd be quite pleased with that effort, particularly as he's gone right through the whole bench, and everybody has contributed very well. They've played with a lot of enthusiasm, followed up well on the boards, and their defense has continued right through to the end of the game.
Long pass, a bad one by Harvey to Rucker. Rucker gets it to Loggins, round the back. Beautiful shot. That's showtime. Fans love it. Have a look at it again. Sees that he's clear. He's only got one player on him. Around the back, 360, and easy as you like. Loggins now 28 points.
Well, that's an ugly foul by James Bullock. I think he just had enough of the Bullets blowing past him and scoring all the time.
Well, he's put in such a big effort tonight. I think he was using Johnson to hold him up, actually. He's really played a fantastic game, James Bullock. Looking at his figures, 38 points and 14 rebounds. Needs a lot more help, I think, in future games and even next year. But this team has got the potential to go on there. As we've said a couple of times, they're a young team and they're learning very quickly. And the best way to learn is out there on the court doing it.
Duncan Johnston, first time charity stripe tonight. Normally pretty good from there, but he's missed both attempts. That's most unlikely.
Guess who got the rebound?
Yeah, he's done well on the boards. Bullock has 15 rebounds. Missed the shot, but there's so many bodies crashing in there, the foul has been drawn. Paul Reese. He's got 5 now. That's the end of Paul Reese. So he's the third Bullet fouled out. Adams, McGraw, and now Reese. He's in 13 points.
Depending on the outcome of tonight's game between Sydney and the East Melbourne Spectres, Brisbane could be at second place on the ladder, currently holding down third place on percentages, but I think with this big win, their percentages would escalate them up above Eastside, even if they do win. But should Eastside drop that game, they'll be outright in second place.
What do you think of the Bullets' prospects in the Doomsday double, John?
Well, I think they'll be happy to split it, and that will probably still give them a fairly good shot at either second or third place, which they'll be happy with. The Melbourne Tigers, of course, one game behind, so if they still split it, the Tigers won't be able to jump up on them. And the Tigers, of course, playing without the help of Andrew Gaze for the last part of the season.
That effectively ruins their chances, I'd say.
Yeah, I don't think the Tigers will win either of their last 2 games.
They've got a fairly hard run in there. The Melbourne Tigers have got to play Geelong tomorrow and North Melbourne next week. Well, the North Melbourne game will be a real tough one.
Rucker going for his 40th point, misses.
We're all writing Melbourne off with that, Gaze, but when you consider Colbert's a very fine outside shooter, if he plays more of an outside role like a Gaze style of game, and perhaps another guard starts shooting the ball a little bit more, maybe things aren't so bad for the Tigers. But I mean, you can't afford it. It'd be like the Bullets losing Rucker, wouldn't it?
I think they'll beat Hobart tomorrow, but I don't think they'll beat North Melbourne next week without Andrew Gaze.
Well, Hobart just gave Geelong a hiding, so in this league, anything can happen. 147 to 110 here at Boondall, counting down 1 minute 38 to go, and there's a huge slam dunk. That gets the crowd to its feet. Andre Moore.
He loves dunking, Andre Moore, doesn't he? Really gets a kick out of it.
So they go awards for the most, he'd win it hands down. Duncan Johnson on the fast break goes all the way, and Andre Moore's there as always. It wasn't needed. 151, that's the highest score in the NBL this season. The Bullets have done it with 1 minute and 12 to go.
A double dribble call there too. Duncan Johnson played an excellent game tonight, both in defence and his offence there. He's got down the court very quickly in offence and has filled that lane on the offensive transition, which has picked him up some easy points, some very good points, 8 points in the game, and he's certainly contributed.
Still time for Falcons to score a couple. Foul is called on Loggins, and so Bullock will go to the line to shoot 1 and 1.
I think that's on McLeod, actually. I think Steve McLeod's trying to keep up his average in there. He's leading the fouls average at the moment of 5 per game. He's in his second one, and I think he might hang on to that.
Well, they've got 4 against McLeod on this electronic scoreboard.
He's got 1 to go with a minute left in the game. He might still make it.
Bullock having a great battle with Rucker. They're both on 39 points individually, and Andre Moore has 38 points and 10 rebounds. Loggins has 28 points and 18 rebounds.
James Bullock has 40 points.
James Bullock, 40 points now. What a performance. 17 boards, and he's sitting down with a minute left in the game.
Rucker just missing that from outside. There's 151 with 40 seconds left. They've picked up the biggest game score in the NBL this season, and they'll add to that before the end of the game.
I'm waiting for a foul by Steve McLeod.
Oh, that's a pass that's going to nobody. I think you put the mockers on him.
Or will they add to it?
So that's a turnover, and here's Steve McLeod guarding Peter Hill. Oh, McLeod has run full tilt into Neil Turner accidentally. They really did collide hard. Quite unintentional. He's a tough boy, Steve.
Well,
have a look at
watch it again as he's going along there. There's the screen set by Turner. Now, if you look at what happened there, Neil Turner is actually almost at 45 degrees. What the referees were calling is his leaning forward. And that was a correct call. He lifted his elbows up in the air and he leaned forward. He had position and he was certainly stationary, but you must stand upright and you certainly can't raise your arms up like that. And the referees have picked him up for that. Fairly dangerous thing to do, of course. And we saw Steve McLeod hit it fairly hard and went down fairly hard.
He's a tough rooster today. He
sure
got up and
is.
shook the dust off and kept going. Pick dog.
Yeah, tough boy from Bundy who used to play a lot of rugby league. He played with Wynnum Manly for a little while down here.
I'll tell you what, he would have felt that, though. We heard it from here. So.
Turner's fouled out, by the way, with 5 assists, 1 block, 2 rebounds, and 6 points. So the second Falcon player fouled out. We've got 25 seconds left to go in this game. Rucker going for the 40 points. No, he can't quite make it. He knows this is his last chance. There's 12 seconds left. Harvey's lost it. Here's a chance for Rucker. season. The all-time record for this season, 153 points to 116. And what a great season the Brisbane Bullets have had here at Boondall, at home, leading into the playoffs.
Well, the Brisbane Bullets proving just a little bit too strong for the Newcastle Aussie Tapes Falcons tonight, but a fine performance by the youngsters. They really are starting to meld well as a team, and I think that augurs well for the future. Don't forget, today at noon, we're going to take you live to Phillip Island for the Australian 500cc Grand Prix. Should be great motorbike action from Phillip Island. On behalf of all the floor crew and everyone here at NBN, I'm Mike Ribbett bidding you a very good day.
This boy stick the ball away. Smythe, 11 seconds. Back to Kenny. Intercepted by James Bullock. Can he go all the way, James Bullock? Oh! Sticks it away. 4 seconds. The clock is still counting. The clock is still counting. That's the ball game. Good screen set by James Bullock, but he just passed off. Here's Atkinson again. He'll go for the dunk. Not a problem. Throws it down. Michael Johnson, 1 minute exactly. Big three-pointer. 10. Oh, he's made it. Unbelievable shot by Michael Johnson. Good to Giddy, 3 seconds. They look for Gaze. He's from the Broadmeadow Railway Station and makes it. Right on the buzzer. What a shot from Andrew Gaze. And the prize you could win, this magnificent 1.8 litre fuel-injected Mazda 323 from Newcastle Mazda. It features power steering, central locking, a 4-speaker AM/FM radio cassette and a luxury interior to go with fabulous fuel economy and brilliant on-road performance. Just pick the same Super Shot as our judges have agreed on and send your entry on the back of an envelope to NBN Mazda Super Shot Competition, PO Box 818 Newcastle 2300.